passionate about this because, shattering of windows that everybody says will happen. Rudy and I discussed it. Yes, in a big accident out on the highway, you will, but in a rollover situation, I haven't seen the shattering of the windows like people have said they have. Yes, John.
I think as big an issue is if the door comes open in a rollover, you now have your arm flailing around, getting trapped between the door and the roof. And as a club, I think we should have mandatory safety nets, window nets in it.
We keep that as a club.
And
That's what Mike's point there.
And if you can get everybody to agree, I think it'd be great.
I think
You're the executive, you guys make the rules.
As the person who stands on the pre-grid, I make sure every person has their window net up.
If it's not written in the sub-regs, sorry Barry, if it's not written in our sub-regs, they don't need to. So I think, you have been waiting for a sec. If everybody's using window nets and they have them in a car, we should make that mandatory that your window net needs to be up. Windows themselves can, if they're a stock window, which is a Lexon window, or not Lexon, excuse me, a tempered glass, it can be up or down, doesn't really matter because it's easy to get into. If it's a non-stock window, it's not safe if you have it up because then you don't have the access you want in there. And that's easy to put in our sub-regs as long as we aren't contradicting what WCMA says.
So now you're saying Lexan windows are no good?
No.
On a side window, you can't get into it if there's an issue where you need to get
That's a
through.
given racing. Well, a lot of guys have Lexan windows inside.
You have to have a port otherwise. But because if there's a fire in the car, you can't get in through the window. A tempered glass, you can. That's the key. Any pro race I see, there's an opening for exactly that purpose. Barry, you had your hand up?
I was just wondering what the Winnipeg did.
That was the whole dilemma, was because Winnipeg doesn't require nets and they can run with the windows up. So that's what I was saying. It's not the same across all of the region. It's totally different. But I understand what Uwe is saying. It's our club and we just make the rules.
Yeah.
But even in the WCMA regulations and our sub-regulations, it wasn't clear. To me, it still wasn't clear. So I've rewritten and put into the regulations, making it clear about what you can and cannot do. There was a lot of unwritten stuff that was implied and assumed that was happening.
Barry?
I would just like to come back to this discussion because it is a club event. One of the things we learned a long time ago was that we put the window nets in place because if you have a roll over your hand, you go out the window. But that wasn't the reason. The reason was 9 times out of 10, the doors can come open and your arms can go out the door. That's the issue. And we saw that by you didn't need, if you pinned your door, then you didn't need to go that route. But we, as a club, adopted it. You need the window net because if it roll over and the window, your hand can go, but more importantly, the door opens, which is more highly probable than the glass.
More important than all of that, it's not what's going out of the car, it's what's coming into the car.
That's the other part.
Yeah, no, it can certainly be changed. That was the way we'd left it as, because the bigger issue was with running with windows up or down. If we want to rewrite the rule, there are supplementary regulations, because if it's got a window net anyway, to have the window net up, the window net installed and properly attached with the window up, then we can do that.
Cage, not to the door.
Well,
Oh, no, the zip tie to the window.
Yeah.
I've got to come back because I was at that meeting and we were discussing whether or not the windows had to be up or down. We did not discuss whether or not the window net had to be up
That's
or down.
right.
and that, exactly.
And those are two separate things.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay.
And with this discussion, we're assuming that they're the same and they're not.
They're not.
Window net, yes, it's club, Winnipeg maybe doesn't do it, but we're in NASCC, we should use them.
See, our club was the first club in Canada to insist on full roll cages in cars. Before we had a roll bar, and that was it.
And there were no ASN regulations
Yeah.
until ours came out.
Yeah.
So, John, you,
I would like to make a motion that our sub-regs include a window net is required to be up by all club racers.
do I have a seconder? Pick one.
Total jump.
Yeah. Okay, seconded by most anybody.
There's no downside.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Exactly.
Everyone has window nets, so we'll just,
So-
just say it must be.
It's not $1,000 adder, it's.
so,
It's already there.
It's-
So-
yeah.
Everybody uses them.
Yeah. so the window net is essentially unanimous, one second.
No, I'm absolutely.
Yeah, okay.
same. But,
Oh.
you wanna specify directly in there that it be attached to the roll cage, not attached to the door, cause there are a bunch of guys that try and do.
And I don't wanna, I don't wanna put that in there right now.
Why?
It has to meet its satisfaction.
We have to enforce, we have to make you're not giving many people very much time to change it.
Yeah,
Right, but the point is that I put in window nets the night of races, the morning of races, it's not hard to do, especially when guys are zip tying them in. But if it's attached to the door, it doesn't keep you inside the car if the door opens.
perhaps you could put, it should be attached to the roll cage for
Recommend
now.
it should be.
Right, and then the other thing I wanted to mention was they do have SFI stamping on them, so you need to either determine that there is no SFI requirement or that there is a specified SFI requirement. in
No,
that regulation.
no specification item.
Just
Okay.
window
If
net,
anybody
net.
needs a window net, I have about 4 sitting on my shelf.
And then the secondary component was the windows themselves, but that was determined, they can be either up or down if
Yep.
it's a stock window.
And that read
Is
fine.
what you said, yeah.
That rule read fine.
Okay, anybody else on there?
I was just gonna add, I've rolled a couple Chevettes, and I've broken more windows from getting hit with windows down than I have from rolling.
Yeah. But they, again, up or
Yeah.
down,
Sure.
so,
All the way.
yeah, all the way,
last point
not,
on all this is that, we've been working in rallying and other forms of racing, to always make the vehicles safer, right? In the UTV racing that I do, we make them safer. At no time should we ever be going backwards.
Well,
I agree.
like, as far as the helmet issue is concerned, the helmet still has to meet the satisfaction of the scrutineer. You can come up with a 10-year-old helmet, and if it's in perfect shape, maybe. But if you come up with a 10, or even a 5-year-old helmet, it's all battered, you reject it, and I've done it in professional racing as well. So
They'll be-
Watch the nice racer get out of his car after somebody hit him and go smack on the ground and
It's,
confiscated
the
it.
problem with that, Uwe, is that guys, like, we go through driver's tech and we go through all these things at these international races that we go to down in the States, right? And then Sean gets his nice fancy sticker and he peels it off that helmet and puts it back on the one that he likes.
Never happened.
Allegedly.
is that a remanufactured helmet?
No. Okay, well, thank you. That's all good discussion. I'm good with the window. I'm absolutely fine with that, so,
Okay, great.
good discussion.
Is there anything else from,
Those are the two outstanding issues from the ice racing meeting from last time.
Okay.
But just one small comment, and just here, not for anybody else. Mr. Roberts has very little experience with ice racing. He was an assistant steward at 2 or 3 ice races a couple of years ago. That's all his experience.
Yep.
And
Yeah.
he has very little experience.
So be gentle on him.
so, all right, so that was,
What's that?
No, that was Gary Roberts he was talking about, who's the race director.
But he came up here, when he first started stewarding, he was assistant steward, or
yeah,
steward and learning.
had a couple ice races,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
So,
Yeah.
This first, at the school in the ice race, Bob is the chief steward, Uwe is the secondary steward, and if he has time, Gary, low use.
mhm.
He's steward as well.
so that's
But
from
he's a
there.
steward in training.
You had some updates also in relation to there's nothing else from our last meeting I know of, so the next thing, I guess, is actually the ice race school.
Something from I don't know if we're gonna get into it or not, but from the last meeting, my favorite topic is tires, as usual.
yes.
So what's are the tires still moving ahead for the studded tires to start?
Yes, yeah, the
That's-
spec is written, the spec has been accepted. I voted the hardware.
But the tire, someone can shave the tires? We found someone to do that?
No, not yet.
Okay, so we have a spec, but we got nobody can build them.
We cannot find a place to shave them
Okay,
locally right now.
that's what I was getting at.
Yeah.
But they
So-
used to local guys used to do it all.
They used to, but unfortunately, they all seem to have gotten out of it now. So if anybody knows anybody who can shave tires, let us know, please.
So we're gonna be airing in some black rockets, is what you're saying.
No, we actually have enough stock left to run tires this year. Nobody else has contacted me saying they wanted to build tires yet, so.
Okay.
How many studded cars do you think we're gonna have this year?
I would think one less than last year,
Who's not playing?
Jed.
Jed told me he's coming home for a race, he's gonna be here for a race. Yeah,
Not that I,
gonna be students, has got the write an exam, he has to be here for it, and he's gonna come out to one of the races or something?
Well, he's probably defending a thesis, so. Yeah, I mean, he's on examining committee, I imagine that's how it works.
No, I haven't heard of anybody else except for myself, Sean, Peter, Ken, and Kevin.
My buddy's trying to come out, Andrew, but I don't know if his car will be ready.
I have a set of tires, I'm not sure if we're gonna run or not.
Cause he
We
got
have
Vitor's
five and
old
one of them
car.
has holes in the sidewall, so.
I've got lots of black rockets left. They just got lots of studs missing, so.
Kevin LaChance, those guys aren't coming.
No.
I suppose we could shave the dreads off the black rockets and put screws in.
Well, if you can shave them, then you can use the other end tire.
So we have five or six set of cars maybe?
5.
I'm still on the fence, depends on the deal first.
But you got tires. So it's not, as far as I'm seeing, I don't have a huge demand to make tires this year from anybody. We have enough to make it through the year.
Has there been any further conversation on a number 15 type tire as a
Chevette
spec?
for the spec,
No,
for the Chevette.
not for Chevette, but as a street studded spec.
If we have
I know
enough
we
peop-
talked about it early in December, but it.
Nobody else has come forward
Yeah.
saying they want that configuration.
Okay.
Until we have 2 or 3 or 4 people come forward saying they want to try
I'm
it.
one, and I
And
have
that's,
tires.
yeah,
so-
that's it. I haven't heard of anybody else say that they wanted to go back to an old street stud class.
Okay, so that's it for tires, school.
School, we have 13 registered right now. I have 2 people who said they were going to register, haven't yet, so I'm sitting at 15 right now. That compares to 16 we had last year and 24 we had the year before. So we're right in the same ballpark as what we've had in the past, and actually may end up being up to about 18. There seems to be a lot of people. We've done a lot of good promotional work on Facebook, and a lot of people more aware of it and interested, but that hasn't so far seemed to translate into registrations. So I'm looking probably there will be up to between 16 and 18 students for the school. So the school is definitely a go. It'll be the 20th, there will be the classroom session here, and the 21st will be out on the ice. So I've already had 2 instructors come forward and volunteer to be instructors, and I'm doing first call for instructors at this meeting, and then I'll be sending out an email to everybody asking for instructors for the ice race school. So anybody want to volunteer? Uwe?
Price?
Instructors?
What's the price of the,
Oh, $150, it's the same price.
okay, good.
Yeah, Ken and Vitor and John and
I'll probably help out, but I can't be 100% committed yet.
yep. Okay, thanks, Dave.
2 questions for you, Mark. What is the overall capacity for students in the class?
We've had up to 30, 35,
so there's
40.
lots of
There's
space
lots of
left.
room. Lots of room.
Secondly, what are the hours on Saturday?
Saturday it'll be at the lake. It's
8:30 to
8:30 till 4. Yeah. Barry again is graciously.
Throw myself in there.
Yeah, Barry graciously is going to be our chief instructor for the classroom session and for the school as well. So.
Okay. We had one question. Is league follow possible, or does my guy need to bring a car with a second?
It needs to bring a car.
Yeah.
Skates won't
I
do.
will instruct too.
Barry, how many marshals
Car with an
do
extra
you
seat.
need for Saturday?
Well, it depends
Because I
on the
gotta
track,
do it
okay,
anyway.
but usually we need at least 5.
Okay.
And then starter. And
5
pre-
plus
and
starter.
pre-rip.
Okay.
So 7 people usually. But again, that's a direct function of what the track's like.
More if you can.
Yeah.
You always use somebody to pick pylons. I can no longer do it, sorry guys.
Okay, well, thank you very much. I got Uwe, Ken Berg, Vitor, John, Dave Welsh, maybe, not 100%, Mike Thorne, and Kevin Kalasa.
Probably. I own a Chevette.
Yes, you better be out there then. Okay.
I think he's trying to say he'll be
There's
working
lots of
on
things to fix.
it all day Saturday up until about 3 a.m. before
Okay.
the race.
Well, no, that's a good start, because then I've already got about 3/4, because I've already got a couple of names. So.
They got Honda, so it'll just turn on.
Okay,
Mark,
Barry.
yes, Barry.
what's the split between people who are taking it just as.
I've only got, I think, 3 people who are interested in race racing, so it's the majority again is for the winter driving experience. I've got a lot of young students this year, appears to be. Jim Whitelaw put his 2 daughters in there.
Age?
I believe they're between 16 and 18. No, I was going to ask, when do we have to get them to get the parental?
Under 18.
Under 18.
And is it under 18? Okay.
A minor waiver.
Okay, so it's anybody under 18. Okay, so I'll have to make sure that gets done for those people.
And they have to have a driver's license, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, I will double check.
You have to have a driver's license. Oh, I think you need a driver's
Well,
license.
even a
Like
class 6 is,
paper?
or learner's permit, class 7 is okay.
Yeah,
Yes.
You accepted the learning permits before.
yeah,
You got a learner's permit with a guy with an open wheel car and drive track.
yeah. But I'm pretty sure I've got at least 4 young students, so that's a good thing though too. Any other questions on the school?
I have one.
Okay.
Provisions for licensing at the track.
Way we been doing it in the last few years is you need to make sure you have at least submitted your WCMA race license. That morning of the first race, I get a list from Chris Samatsu saying he's received their application, their payment, and all their documentation, and if you're on that list, you're good to go. Clear?
Yep.
Okay,
So we
but
don't
I've been
Before.
If we don't
I've been
apply-
hounding everybody to get your race license done. Get it done now. Don't wait till the last minute. But
So-
that's the way we've handled it. So,
So if someone does the school, they can get a provisional license at the track,
yes.
and everybody else got to fill out the application.
If you're a previous ice racer, you have to get your application and all your medical stuff into him. If it's somebody who's just taken the ice race school, we have the provision to give them a license at the track.
Okay,
Keep-
that's all.
Keep advised too for dry track racers, if you apply just for your ice race license now, you'll have to pay full fee for the dry track license later. So if you're gonna dry track, apply for the whole thing now.
Absolutely, yeah.
Mark,
Yes, Barry.
you do not need a medical for a basic?
Correct. But a lot of people have competition
Oh,
licenses, so
absolutely,
they need to
yeah.
make sure they submit their
A
medical.
first-time person who wants to.
Correct, you're correct. I'm more directing it to people who just linger and don't put in their race license until the night before, so, or.
People who should know.
And there are
should
lots.
Because
Have you
I,
taken care of any of this yet, Sean?
because I,
Did Mrs. Finn help you with this?
it's amazing how many people have trouble with scanning, so if you have trouble, make sure you start early and get some young person to help you.
And if somebody really has trouble scanning, come and see me and I'll scan it for you.
Yeah.
You have to
So-
come to my house.
I feel
so
hurt.
Chris accepts
We're,
pictures of
we're
our-
trying to help you, don't feel hurt.
So, but
You
I,
got one of those machines, Gil, when I stand like this, and it does the whole body?
No, unfortunately.
Oh, you don't, oh.
but I got a feeling it'd be like every year.
Customs, you mean?
That's only going to the lobby.
Everybody waits till the last minute. We've only got 18 people registered for club memberships for 2017. You get it. That's your first step to get your license. So everybody better get on it. So,
Well, I made several calls to Chris Samantu, and he only recently just got it up and going, right? Because I had tried, I had made several attempts to do this
he'd
earlier
held
in the
off.
year. Yes.
He'd held off. Yeah.
So in my own defense there.
No. Okay. Enough. Anything else on the school?
I was just thinking
No.
of leaving tomorrow.
Everybody's good at the school? Good.
To leave.
The other items that I have notes of are actually, I don't know if we need to discuss it now, the dry track school, but I don't think that's.
Well, let's give everybody an update on this. On that, we may as talk about it. So
Yeah.
we've got our dates from Castle that everybody's seen. We only have 4 race dates, 4 race weekends this year, same as last year. We wanted to get a 5th, but Castle didn't want to give us the 5th, or the 5th date was not acceptable to us. We did get the school around the date we wanted. So the dry track school is currently being the format and also the organizations being worked on by Brooke and Jed in Europe together. They've been conversing back to us and saying they're just about ready to go. We're aiming to get registration for the summer race school open January 9th. And we think we have just about everything worked out. They wanted to check a couple of things before we go ahead. But expect to see the race school advertised January 9th. We've had actually a lot of inquiries for people wanting to register already. Winnipeg has already got theirs up. They just did it yesterday, and we should have ours up January 9th. The cost right now we anticipate will be the same. We're holding our cost at $690, which includes a club membership. Very.
This, as just an additional item here, has the cost of rental of this track gone up?
We haven't been advised of any increase.
We're assuming it hasn't, but we may be wrong. So we're going to check. We had the meeting about the dates, and they were so focused on the dates they forgot to talk about the cost. So.
We issued a check tonight for 50% of the season, and based on the old rate, and just everybody wants to know, the check was for $40,000. So
There was no indication at all about changing prices. There was lots of other small stuff talked.
about the road racing school, Brooke had asked me about the classroom. The classroom there in the corner, known as the Eurasia classroom, with the Eurasia banners on. I talked to Rob Reed. It's actually Rob's classroom. It's not the Eurasia classroom, and it's available for the school for a fee.
Take it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I looked at it. But we didn't talk, but it's Rob, so there was no mention of price. And well, at that meeting, I'll just keep talking here for a little bit. When we talked about the school and getting the classroom, we talked about moving the wall back at turn one.
Yes.
And Castro had agreed to do that. Rob Reeve had agreed to move the wall back in turn one, and it was either gonna be gravelled or paved, and he was gonna price out both scenarios. And
Yeah.
did you get an update on that?
Yep.
Oh, sorry.
It was.
Well, I'll stop talking then.
Yeah. No, it's still on the list, but their only thing is, it's whether it's done by the time we first arrive is relative to the
They
weather.
cannot get to it until the May long weekend.
So, yeah. Don't expect it right away.
Yeah.
So is this the outside of between turn 1 and 2 on the
Turn 1 and
outside?
2.
Yes.
Okay.
And I wouldn't expect pavement, to be honest, the way they were kind of indicating, because it's more money. To fill in the hole, move the wall back is fine. And that'll just give a little bit of extra breathing room so the tires aren't right quite there.
It's actually 30 feet. It's quite a bit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and that's why
But
they
the-
said they're not gonna pave, it's gonna
Yeah.
be gravel.
Yeah, so there's, if you go off, you're still gonna be in the gravel, so you're still going off, you're just not hitting quite as many
Yeah, not
things
hitting
on the
it.
way, yeah. So, that's kind of where it's at, but again, it's, even the May long weekend is not guaranteed, cause it's Castro, until it's done, nothing
Weather.
is guaranteed. Weather is
Yeah.
a major factor in it. And, the only thing that I would worry on them actually getting it done is once they start running the track, there's very little downtime to physically do the work. So if the spring is not very cooperative, it's quite possible it doesn't happen as soon as we want, but ERC, sorry, not ERC, the
Motorcycles.
motorcycles, they're really adamant that it gets done. So,
Was there any discussion about the weekends or that we have? How are we sharing with the drag racers at the same time?
as to like, on the
Drag
schedule?
races running at the same time as we are, and how much paddock area do we get, was the basis for the question.
There's a lot of discussion about
Yes and
parking.
no.
Yeah, go ahead.
Parking was their number one item of concern. And no, there will be no increase in paddock area.
So when everybody gets their spot, whatever was laid out previously is what we get. And they're actually kind of grumpy that some people come in, somebody is a competitor in our event, they get a pit stall, and then later on they have 5 family members who come in and they all park all around, and that's creating issues with travel for everybody using the track, so that's probably their biggest concern. As the board, we haven't had a lot of chance to discuss all that, but the Castrol offered some solutions which we'll present a bit later on as to what they're saying, so everybody coming to the track will know what's going on.
There's drag racing essentially every weekend.
Yeah, every
It's
weekend.
never gonna change.
Every night, it's there, so. no luck.
It's also the bread and butter.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's true. So they did indicate, just so you know, that although sometimes you hear negative or not, their words were, you know, we understand you are a valued customer. You're no different than anybody else in that sense, but we do recognize, you know, that you guys bring stuff to the track. So I'm hoping that it continues on a positive look. I know Sean's had a good rapport with Castrol, and I hope that continues. So just kind of work. Everybody's got to understand that they're in business too. So
just for, in terms of the paddock space, well, what has been agreed to in the past of who owns what real estate or who gets what, it's aligned, in line with drag tower due south. So west of that is the road race course, and south and east of that is the drag course.
Yeah.
And the problem we ran into last year, a bunch of people they hadn't left the space in the drag pits to allow vehicles and dragsters to be able to negotiate that corner.
Right.
And there was an empty space, and road race paddock people or participants or members of crew for the road racers were taking up that space of the draggers,
Yeah.
and it was causing it was a real safety problem.
Yeah.
So it was a valid concern.
Yeah.
So we have to make sure nobody parks there.
Yeah.
One thing that Kimberly brought up that I found very interesting, they said their insurance doesn't cover anything within a certain distance of that drag race track. So if there's cars parked on the north side of that road, they're too close to the drag race track, and there's
Supposed to
no
be a dead
insurance. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
supposed to be dead space, and the insurance doesn't cover anything in that area.
You talking about the return road?
Yes.
Yes,
Between the return road and the drag strip.
right.
And if you see the car come through that wall or over that wall, you'll completely
No,
understand.
on the drag strip side of the pit wall, there's anything beyond there, yeah, this is where their issues, they don't want stuff parked. So, but we'll, before we start running there, we'll have that in detail so that we can try to be good customers, and it becomes a good working relationship. So we just need to, like Sean was saying, that part was probably their biggest concern.
And it's valid.
Yeah, and it's valid. Excuse me, and I can say from my own stuff, pulling a car through there with a 30-foot rope, it's awful hard because there are people and cars, and your space just keeps getting bigger and bigger. And I'm not pulling a huge big dragster. I'm just towing whatever Miatas or whatnot.
So we need to impress upon our members that they can't be blocking that driveway or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, there's
No parking along the edge there.
That's correct.
yeah along the tree line.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's
The parking issue was, they left the space between where the
The tree.
the return. Yeah, on the way back.
where the road course people were parked and where the dragsters were, there was a lane or an alleyway through there.
Yeah.
And they left the last 4 or 5 stalls on the east side of the demarcation line, whatever you wanna call it, to the south. They left a gap there to allow the dragsters to turn. And people would come in and see an empty spot there, and as soon as one guy would pull out, another road course person or personnel, a friend of road course personnel would come and park there. And I keep telling them not to park there, but I get in my car and go racing and come back, and there'll be somebody else parked there.
Yeah.
Did we have it blocked off though?
No, you can't block it because you gotta have.
No, pylons, I mean.
No, it was a,
At one
Ca-
point, there
Castro-
were some pylons there.
The
Yeah.
pylons are usually there all the time.
no, they can't be there because the dragsters need to drive through there.
Oh, sorry.
Well, I mean, like,
Around
they
the
don't,
outside.
they don't have to be right up to the end of it, but at least to stop somebody going into the area. Because is it up to incumbent on us to stop people going in?
Yes.
I mean, people are
Okay.
participating in our event and then blocking and screwing up the drag race event.
Guys, the issue is we have no control after we get everybody into the pits and all set it, because there's a line and it's marked by pylons, so, and we follow that line very judiciously, unless there's some negotiation that we can use others, but we follow that line. The issue is, once we get everybody in, there's no control. There's nobody at the gate, there's nobody at the pit area to tell people where they're going. What happens, and people are realizing this, once you get in there and your car's all set up and everything else, then all your friends and everybody else are coming in, and we have no control.
There's actually, again, as I mentioned, there's a number of different items that we can be discussing for many hours, but until they're kind of sewn up. Castrol has got suggestions that are very workable, but it's not summarized in a meeting format yet, is basically it, because we had a meeting and we all went away and did Christmas and whatnot. So now it's there, it's addressed, and there's some other overall, just the view or outlook, I guess, from the meeting with Castrol, it was positive. They have issues, but they offered solutions for us to use. And now we just have to turn around and figure out exactly how to present it to the competitors or participants, so everybody is aware of what's going on and how it works out. And then it should allow us to continue with a happy relationship with the track that we rent. So that's that meeting, which was relating to the dry track school.
Yeah, can we go back to ice? Colin, do you want to give us an update on ice conditions? I forgot to.
I haven't been to Roy's, but on my lake, I drilled a hole today and the ice was the nicest ice I've seen in 20 years, I'm sure. And my auger's only 18 inches and it bottomed out and I still haven't hit the water yet. So the ice, the surface is like skating rink quality, 2 or 3 inches of snow, and ice is just perfect all the way down. Ken says that he's heard there's over 24 inches in Labiche. And I'm sure we must have 20 inches at least. But I haven't been over to Roy's yet, but I'll get over there soon. I'm sure we're gonna be fine.
Okay, well, that's
Real quality ice, I mean, it's not the crumbly stuff that I've been augering out lately.
What's the status of the truck?
Yeah, that was my next thing. I'll let them talk to it, but first I think we owe a big debt of gratitude to Ken Berg. He's done a lot of work on the club truck.
Oh, I didn't do that much.
Oh, bullshit. No, I didn't. I heard it the other way, Ken. Thank you very much. But I'll pass it over to Sean. And
Well, Ken did do a lot of work. He had someone had tied a knot in our exhaust system, and Ken untied it, so that was greatly appreciated. The truck, Beth had talked about the manifold leak, and the manifold is, after we put the clamp, Ken replaced the clamp on the exhaust pipe to the manifold. That leak is fixed, but it still is a manifold leak between the manifold and the block. But I don't think that we need to address it. I think it's gonna be too costly. Actually, I think the repair will probably be more than the truck is worth. I think we just live with it for now. It doesn't look like it's gonna catch on fire or cause any performance issues for the truck, so I think we just leave the exhaust leak.
I've had that done on my old truck. And what they did, they replaced the new exhaust manifold to one side and just new gasket, and it worked just fine.
Put a turbo diesel?
Oh, no, turbo, this was just a gasket.
Yeah,
No.
so the issue is the cost of it, and with the turbo diesel, it's a lot of work.
Okay.
What
So-
about fumes getting into the
Doesn't seem to be a problem. Hasn't been.
Just diesel fumes anyway.
you can run with the window down.
It hurts turbo efficiency a little bit, but not highwaying it.
Moving forward, the plow still needs to be mounted.
Poster as well.
Plow needs to be mounted, but other than that, truck's good to go, just need to plow. There is still some issues with the HVAC. There was a relay burnt out and the fuse gone in the HVAC system. We replaced that, and I replaced an actuator for the HVAC system. But we have heat, we have defrost, we can use the truck in the condition that it's in, but the interior still needs to be replaced. A lot of the dash and interior pieces have been removed, and I located as many of the parts as I could, but I haven't located all the parts.
Is there any discussion about a new truck?
yeah,
Yeah.
We need a new truck.
We're
We
looking
might
for
not
a,
have one in time for this season. We'll leave
we're
it at
looking
that.
for a sponsor
Yeah.
to donate a nice truck.
I offered to donate my green truck to the club, but the club was disinclined to acquiesce to my offer.
Why buy the cow? I think
Apparently, yeah.
Well, what about the previous owner? They said they had the other trucks there.
Yeah, Kevin is, said when he gets a good one, he'll let us know.
He's
Yeah.
aware of our requirements. So.
He's had a couple come up that said he would not, just send it to auction, he said he wouldn't give it to us because he wouldn't do that to us.
Oh, okay.
He wants to find a good one.
Yeah.
but it may take, who knows how long that's gonna take.
We should be able to do this year though, this
Yeah,
winter.
the truck's fine. I drove it today. I drove it around this here today.
Yeah.
Drove it on the highway a little bit. It's as good as, I mean, it doesn't get used all summer.
Yeah.
It's the abuse of making the road, the track at the beginning of the year that takes the miles out of our truck.
No, it's the modifications after the first plow, that's the hard part
Yeah.
on
Yeah.
that poor
Well,
little girl.
That one time that Mike and I and Andy Boone made the road, and that was really hard on the truck.
Oh, yeah, the road in.
Yeah.
I don't think we'll have that big an
No,
issue right
no.
now. There's,
The truck will be fine. Truck will make it through this. I don't foresee any problem with the truck getting through this season.
But next season is definitely.
Eventually, long term, we need to replace that unit, yes. Without that truck, ice racing is not possible. I mean, it is possible, but we'd have to hire bobcats or heavy equipment, and the cost would be significantly increased.
A lot of operators won't go out there, so.
Yeah. But no, we're good to go. Just the truck needs to be mounted. There are some maintenance things still to be done. I would do it, but I'm going to Newfoundland. I have two timing scoring trailer. I have 2 new tires mounted. I can't tires. Have to pick them up. I'll put them on tomorrow. Oil needs to be changed in the timing genset. Somebody's going to have to do that. And and mount the plow on the club truck. And my truck's available. If somebody like John's good with the truck, like John wants to come get it, or Colin or somebody that I know has the skills and ability to take it and look after it, they'd be welcome to it. I don't want it to be a free-for-all out there. My truck's available for plowing too when I'm away.
Rudy's stepped up to change the oil. Ken, were you gonna put the plow on the truck or not?
Yeah, I was thinking, but I probably wouldn't get there till the weekend, so I don't know when you're leaving.
I'm leaving on Friday, but the guys will be available during my shop will be open during business hours.
Oh, yeah.
But my guys won't be there on the weekend.
Yeah, next week maybe we'll try to, if you wanna come out there.
yeah, we'll go out together and then.
It needs to get mounted and function tested, right?
What's that?
It needs to get mounted and function tested, because John did a lot of work with the electrics on it, on both my truck and on the club truck last year, and we haven't tried it since, so.
Yeah.
Can we leave that with Colin and yourself then, Ken?
Sure, yeah.
And you got in contact with each other?
Yeah.
What's your name when you're
going, Ken?
Oh, it's a party.
Let me know when you're out, and I'll
Oh, okay.
help with the electric.
John's good with the electrics.
And
Because-
Sean, I'll pick up your truck at the time if we want, and we can abscond with that.
Yeah, I think my truck needs a battery. The guys told me it needed a battery, and I was ignoring them.
When are you back?
I don't know.
I'm sure.
Okay.
Undetermined. I don't have a return ticket.
Okay.
So probably early as next week, but probably February.
Thanks, John, for doing that.
Okay, so we have the truck going, is there anything specific to probably the most important right now is our school, we covered everything with that. Starting the ice racing is, first event is essentially organized, other than some internal stuff you're doing.
Yeah, last year we put up the race package for the season, and we had one person registered. I decided to do it again this year, but I actually put in the classes. So I encourage you, if you want to save some, if you are ice racing and you want to save some money, pre-register on Motorsports Reg. I know it's a hassle if you don't make it through the season, but it's easy to refund the money. Everybody's probably gonna, be summer racing anyway, so it's not a big deal. But you can save yourself some money by pre-registering for the season package.
Team racing,
Yep, fully allowed.
so you can have more than one driver in a car.
Absolutely.
Not at the same time.
Just
But
race
you're collecting points on the car, not the driver.
That's right.
for the team.
It's a team then, yeah. Yeah, your name will go on the trophy as a team.
All
Can I
right.
speak about Lac La Biche too? At this
Sure, if
point?
you got some information.
The organizers had a meeting for the Festival of Speed as we speak, but he'd like to encourage the Chevette team to try and get the group together, because he is promoting the race that they usually have, where you rent the cars and
Charity race.
charity race, yeah.
Jamie Davis and his son smashing.
No, it
No.
doesn't happen.
They're long gone, don't worry about it.
And the damage deposit is pretty much taking care of that situation. So, yeah, he's working to trying to pull together some money from sponsors up in that area, and it's not easy.
I don't think he's gonna get any numbers out of me, because I probably won't know until that day, that morning of the first race, how many people we get out, because people just don't seem to wanna register, they just show up, right?
Yeah.
With their money in hand and wanna go racing, which we didn't talk about, registration.
I was just gonna ask you if you've done any forms for the binder.
Yes, I've fixed it. I've done the
But
forms,
anyways.
but I would like to see somebody dedicated to registration, so.
Yeah, we've got that taken care of between Ken's wife and myself.
Perfect, okay. Because if I do get pre-registered people, I'll just fill out the forms, hand it to you saying they've already paid, and then good to go.
Okay.
But I'll have the binder, the form's already modified, so as long as we just got people to do the registration, because I won't have time for it.
As a matter of interest, the ice conditions are good up there, except for the fact that the ice is pushed up on the shore where we drive on,
Again?
like 4 feet high.
That,
They
didn't
were
that happen
getting,
last year?
well, either last year or a couple of years, whatever.
A couple of years
They
ago.
have to get a backhoe in now because it's on the shore. The ice is piled up 4 feet high, they've gotta get a hoe in there to smooth it out, but the lake itself is good.
Good.
Probably as good as it's been in many years too.
In the main area in town there?
Yeah, they have.
Awesome.
So is there anything else on Lac La Biche?
Excuse me.
He's at
Sorry.
the meeting now.
Okay,
Shouldn't be any different than usual.
that's good to know.
What's your next thing?
The beer arrived late, look at the beer there, $6 each.
What's your next thing?
Just the pollster knows about it.
Well, we still should mention the ERC thing.
The which?
ERC.
ERC, oh, yeah,
Yeah.
go ahead.
We did receive a letter from the Edmonton Rally Club requesting some dates for to have in between our ice race dates as rallycross events. They proposed 3 dates, one between our race number 1 and our race 2 and 3, and between our 3rd and 4th and the Lac La Biche, and then one after the Lac La Biche event. It's being distributed and talked about informally within the executive, and we haven't come to a final decision yet. There's been a lot of talk about how much it may detriment the ice surface, what is fair and reasonable in return, and a whole bunch of things. But we haven't been able to sit down as a group. We hope to do that before this meeting, but we had a lot of other things to discuss. So we hope to meet shortly after this meeting to discuss that proposal that they sent, and we'll send back a formal one to the Edmonton Rally Club responding to that. But as far as any other details, we don't want to talk about it at this time. But they will expect a response from us fairly shortly after today. Okay?
So that's the update on that part.
Do we need to talk about, let's get together with this executive for 5 or 10 minutes after the meeting?
Yeah, I did. You were sleeping.
Have some more beer.
No, he was awake.
Oh, you were getting beers. That's right. You got me a beer.
I was having a side conversation going over here.
Okay. Yeah.
Sorry.
So one other item that was done this year, and I don't know that it's been done before, or recently anyway, that there's a poster being going to be printed that Kevin did a lot of work on, actually all the work, and a really good job. And perhaps he can speak a little bit about generally what's created in the concept and otherwise.
Yeah, we
Put
built
on the spot.
a poster of like highlights from, try to get most of the sponsors' cars that were out racing with their low logos on it, and we're just we came to a decision of what size to print. We're going to be giving them a fairly large mounted poster with a letter to all the sponsors that have, just to celebrate the 2016 season with a little bit of all types of racing that we had. So hopefully I'll probably post on the Facebook site the final picture that's going, but
Not until we got it ready
Yeah,
for
yeah.
exhibition.
Until after it's been.
when they've been sent out or whatever, if you didn't get a chance to see it, it'll be posted though on the website. So.
Yeah, when we look back on 2016, we basically looked at, we had 7 what we call sponsors for the season. Some of them directly sponsored race events, some of them sponsored services during the season, some of them sponsored off-site NASCC equipment. Some of them, who else would there be in the class? There was a sponsor who has allowed us to have our meetings at their facility. So when we looked at it in total, we had 7 sponsors. So we're making 8 posters. We're keeping one for the NASCC for if and when we ever get a clubhouse again. If not, it'll sit in somebody's basement for a little bit. But for the cost of getting an extra one, it wasn't a big deal. I would like to see it done next year as well. It's sort of just a recognition back to our sponsors. We don't do very much back to our sponsors except maybe a little post on our schedule and other stuff. So this is a nice little thank you in return for their sponsorship for the year, and hopefully encourage more sponsorship next year.
It's also good advertising for our club if they put their poster in a nice spot. So
Along that line, we are live streaming again tonight. Is that information available on, say, our website saying, look into that?
How do you explain that, Kevin?
Or do you?
Oh, for the live stream?
Yeah.
How do you look up how do you watch it?
So basically, it's streamed to YouTube Live, and I link it on the website or on the Facebook site.
On the Facebook site.
So you can see it, because it's not easy to update. Because if I make changes with it, I can update it on Facebook.
Yeah.
So to go to the club Facebook page, you can watch the live stream.
Yeah.
But not everybody's on the Facebook page is what I'm getting at, that maybe we should mention.
Everybody's
that.
on YouTube.
Is it live on YouTube?
Oh, and if you know how to use YouTube, sorry, buddy.
I can do that. I can do that. Really, don't tell anybody.
It's
But,
live
you
on
know,
YouTube, but it's
still-
linked through Facebook.
We still have our website.
Yeah,
I know.
times have changed, Colin,
I
a
know.
little bit. We still, anytime we post something to the website, we always post it to Facebook.
Okay.
And vice versa. So
Okay.
we always keep both up to date.
All right.
But for mainstream live things and posting our events as events, we all do on Facebook now.
Mm-hmm.
So, where on the website you list all of the events, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. On Facebook, you list each individual event separately, and so it shows up in a calendar type environment and all of those types of things. Just so much more easier to do it in a Facebook environment, and the majority of people now go to Facebook versus go to a website.
Is it mentioned though on
Absolutely.
on
And
our website?
Yep.
To look on Facebook
Yep.
for the current.
Well, not really. That's a good point. I'll put that on there. But
There
we
are a
do.
few other dinosaurs out there.
Yeah,
that-
no, we actually do it back the other way. We list
Yeah.
on Facebook to go back to our website
Yeah.
all the time. But yeah, we should be putting more on there that Facebook is more our current
for
method
more
of
current
communication.
information.
Good point.
Just a line.
Are we Snapchatting and tweeting?
No, not yet. it's on the list of things.
Okay,
Actually, believe it or not.
okay.
So-
We're in phase 1.
See, I'm
That'll
cool.
be phase 2.
I'm cool, I know what that is.
So that thing means we have to be very careful about lambasting cultural minorities.
Yes.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
That's
Yes,
all I
Barry.
know.
Can I change topics?
Absolutely.
Is there any discussion, certainly within the executive, about a new clubhouse?
No.
No.
No, the current thinking is this is the same cost as what we're paying for the facility on the west end. It's $100 a meeting.
I don't know what they actually charge for this room, but I know they charge us $100, and I believe that's subsidized
Okay.
quite heavily.
Because our negotiated thing is definitely subsidized.
Yes, I think, I don't know if anybody wants to mention them, but I think Basil Koziak had a lot to do with us obtaining this site, this room for the cost. I mean, for what we're paying for this, it's
Yeah, so-
unbelievably good value.
It's the same cost. What we have lost is the ability for storage and display of some of our memorabilia. A lot of our printed documents went to the archives, which Dave took down, so that's freely available to the public. I was going to go down and check one day, see if I can access some of it. So
Should be somewhere.
should be somewhere there, but it's all available. Jed has stored a lot of stuff, and I've stored a lot of stuff in my basement
Yeah, stuff.
and stuff.
I got stuff.
It would be nice if we had a place to display all this stuff. We've got some really neat stuff. We have some old neat posters, and unfortunately I had to throw out a lot of trophies. just because they were just in so many of them and so many disrepair. I kept some. I've still got a lot in my basement, but it's taking up a lot of space.
He's just trying to find an engraver now to change the names.
I wish. So-
I've been kind of looking around for leasing agents at a bargain basement lease properties available, because there's 20% effective unemployment in town now. So there's an awful lot of empty space, but the landlords don't seem to be anxious to fill it.
Yeah, and we'd be looking for a long-term lease arrangement. That's the other thing, because we don't want to be moving every year or doing
If they
things
could
like
lock
that.
in a long-term lease now, but all the landlords, myself being a landlord, are reluctant to take a short-term lease, just take the hit on the short-term lease to wait for price to recover before they lock in a long-term lease.
The basis for my question is that John and I went through this some years ago, and the issue is, it's not something that you can just do here or there. You either have to have a plan, you're gonna go ahead and do this, people assign, you start, or you're just gonna leave it the way it is, and that's the basis for my question.
So the answer to your question is no.
What about a mortgage to buy the place?
We talked.
Like a warehouse like Jed's shop
Yeah,
would be perfect.
Yeah, no, it has been discussed briefly, but just breezed over, but not seriously undertaken this. Well, Jed and I had discussions about it, but we haven't, since Jed's departure, nobody else has had a discussion about it. I'm not opposed to it, it just,
It hasn't come up.
yeah.
It has now.
So,
But
All in favor?
the value for this room, it's going to be, to purchase a condo, even a warehouse condo like Jed's, $350,000, you know.
No, those ones where Jed is, they go below 200,000. I know that for a fact.
Okay, whatever.
Along the sales.
Say 200 to 250,000, whatever it is. I mean, if the club's willing to take on that sort of debt, I don't know. That's something that's needs to be discussed. But it is something that we should talk about. Yes, I agree.
So what size are we looking at?
We need something.
we aren't looking, because that was a step, nobody's looked yet.
So what you talk about, Jed has a
A
warehouse?
shop, yeah,
That one's about 1,000 square feet.
it's about a little bit
Plus
bigger than this
mezzanine
room.
space.
Oh, okay,
It's a little bit bigger than
Yeah,
this
you can
room.
probably buy a room about this size for $200,000.
wow,
Yeah,
that's a lot of money.
Probably
it
less
is a
than
lot.
that.
So
But it's your money.
You can buy it for less than that.
as soon as we start talking about like a $200,000 investment, I get a little bit jittery.
Yep.
That's the net worth of the club, basically.
Yeah.
Now,
Tied
you,
up in a-
you
tied up
still
in a
have,
condo.
you still have your ongoing expenses when you have it, which is what we pay here anyway, so at this point,
Well, the
No,
condo
that-
fees there are gonna be more per month.
Yeah,
than
the
what we're
ongoing
paying for this.
expenses of this room, we're not gonna carry a condo.
yeah, that's right, so what.
No, not gonna carry the condo fees.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
the point.
Yeah.
So this is the least expensive thing right now, unless there's a generous benefactor who's got some property around.
Or else one of us wins the Lotto Max this weekend.
If I win the Lotto Max, I'm not buying a clubhouse.
I am.
I am, but
I'll buy Castro.
Yeah, I'm not debating that this is very cost effective, that wasn't the point. The point is, there are other additional benefits to the organization of having a facility over and above. And I guess I believe it can't just be based on what it's costing us for this. That was the whole basis for bringing the discussion up.
Yeah, yeah, and I totally agree with you, because it's the shame what we've got in storage
Yeah.
and we can't display.
Yeah.
Well, and the club owns the largest asset the club has is the dyno now. So without a space that's owned by the club that could facilitate that, it doesn't make sense to have a mortgage.
That dyno needs to be dealt with too, if we're gonna keep it or sell it or what we're gonna do with that's another topic for another discussion another day. It's okay where it is for now, but I mean, if I die tomorrow, it can't stay there. But really, we need to come up with a plan of what we're gonna do with that thing long term.
Yeah, we can.
I don't, and there's legal obligations with the way we structured the.
Yeah, basically to have some signage.
Yeah.
In favor of the person who provided it to us, but that's really little cost to us.
Yeah.
Just have
Just have to do it.
do it somehow, you know.
Yeah.
Make
Yeah.
one of these, at least one of these banners is part of it.
Yeah, no, the fins and air tech system is on that poster.
So for now though, the dyno and or a clubhouse is something for down the road.
Did the conversation come up with Castrol at all about having it there during the summer season?
Sorry, Mike, go ahead.
Oh, just, if we're on to do business, I just wanted to mention the purchase of the scale and just to get it on record, that there's a scale available, that I purchased, at an auction that's brand new, and it could serve our road racing, needs fairly well. It's just a matter of, putting a proposal together, so I will have a proposal together in the next day or two for you guys, and you can peruse it.
Great.
We have a scale that requires a lot of adjustment every single time a car drives over it. This is a giant plate, so the car just drives over it, digitally grab the number, keeps on driving. You can weigh the whole field as it comes off the track.
Can you do corners?
You can't do corners, this
No.
is just a plate scale, so.
It's a 2-pallet.
Yeah, it's the width of 2 pallets, so, or it's actually bigger than that, but that's what it's ideally meant for.
One
So-
axle at a time then.
Yeah, drive the front on, drive the back on, and it takes 5 seconds to weigh a car.
So we're talking price, Mike?
I'm into it for just under $1,000. Now, if you guys are interested, I have a small trailer, a flat deck trailer that this thing could be on, or ideally, we could just leave it at Castrol, you can take the electronics with you, and the scale can just be left behind. And maybe we could work a deal with Castrol where we could just leave it there and other people could use it, I don't know.
So
Yeah, that's scary.
I wouldn't let other people use it, we'll just leave it there, we're good.
Yeah,
I would, like Mike asked a question about the dyno and bringing it to Castro and stuff. I was negotiating the deal, we had a spot picked out over there at Castro for it, but then the dyno electronics gave out, so we didn't have a functioning unit that we could take there. And there was a heated debate and a lot of different opinions about what we should do with that dyno within the club, and I got tired of listening to it and didn't do anything else with it, so. But I mean, yes, it is still an option, but there's a lot of work to do to make that happen. I was tasked to look into a mobile dyno, and the cost of a mobile dyno, if we could sell what we have for half of what it's worth, a mobile dyno would cost so we sell, the machine we have is worth $100,000, sell it for $50,000, mobile dyno is $80,000. So do we want to take on a $30,000 debt to have a dyno? Yeah, with trailer. And what Mustang calls a mobile dyno
It's not very mobile.
is a pallet jack welded to one end of half the unit we have there, and 2 dolly wheels on the other. It's mobile in the fact that you can roll it out of the way in your shop to free up your
Can't
floor
drive it
space.
down the highway.
No.
It's not like a big float.
So it's mobile, not
But
transportable.
you can get a dyno jet on trailer for 30 US.
Really? I couldn't find one.
Because just a 2-wheel drive dyno jet is 23.
Okay, not wanting to get bogged down on that. I mean, these are options that we could discuss.
Question?
Yes.
Are we aware if WCMA required any testing on horsepower dyno numbers last year?
It was incumbent on the competitor to get their own horsepower numbers done if required. And really, you only need to get horsepower numbers done if you were thought by your classing of your car it wasn't correct, and then the horsepower numbers would be used to define exactly what class you were in.
Which
So-
really applies to the ST cars.
Correct. More to the ST cars, correct.
That's correct. So,
PT cars normally don't need to be dynoed.
so how many ST entries did we have last year? 15, 18, something like that, maybe,
Mhm.
total cars. So our market for dyno requirements is 20 cars from our group.
No, I don't see it that way. You're partially correct if you're looking just at ST cars. You look at the Spec Miata field. Every Spec Miata competitor wants to know their dyno horsepower. Everyone, because that gives them an idea of whether they need to change their motor or not. So when you look at the people who would be using the dyno, it's actually a lot larger field than just for compliance testing with the STs. So, a lot of a lot of other people would be using the dynos, not just the ST cars.
I think the adoption of the power to weight rules without having some way to enforce it at the track is just stupid.
Can I second that?
In my humble opinion, but,
If you got a rule book and you can't enforce it,
Yeah.
then the rule book's useless.
yeah. So the dyno was donated to the club. And we thought that having it donated to the club would allow for testing at the track. But then there's, like, as our political structure or of the different levels of the club, I mean, the NASCC owns the dyno, but the WCMA is in charge of testing and enforcement, so therein lies the problem. I would love to see every spec Miata that comes off track be dyno.
Yeah.
The same as it is, at least the top 10, same as it is in NASA and STCA and every other tracks that I run at. And so, dyno the powered weight classes, dyno the Miata classes just for compliance. But
Well,
The
that's
move-
a big step.
Yeah.
We're lucky to weigh the top 3 cars.
Yes, I understand.
So
It's a challenge for logistics of getting the dyno to the track as well as getting personnel to operate it. I agree.
I'm not saying it shouldn't be done. I'm just saying it's
a logistical challenge.
It's far
Yes.
from where we are right now.
Yes, I agree.
The dyno was just kind of, in the past 6 months, become a working device.
It was working, but not working properly.
Yeah, so now it's working correctly.
Kevin can talk to that, he's still doing some tweaking of some of the sensors.
But we haven't, so at this point, we're not even sure how to implement it or where or what. So, once we get it going, then can we put a Castrol, not who, what, or where, so to already, we're getting way ahead of ourselves to decide if it's got merit or not when we haven't even had a chance to test it. It was given to us, we're going from where we are, so, at this point, once we know it works, we decide to talk to Castrol, then, or further the conversation, then we may get somewhere, but at this point, it's a lot of speculation way ahead of time until we have it all sorted out, and then talk to Castrol, then we can say, hey, this is what our options are, because we don't have the answers. There's a lot of questions that we can't answer, because we just haven't got there yet.
Personally, from a personal view of the dyno, it was a gift, it was a $100,000 gift. And I think there's a tremendous opportunity to generate revenue for the club, to subsidize our marshals, to subsidize all the things that go along with racing, to reduce the cost of racing. I think it's a tremendous opportunity in that piece of equipment. You have all the drag racers over there want to be dynoed, you have all the drifters want to be dynoed, you have all the track junkies cars that want to be dynoed. I think it's a tremendous opportunity.
And 400 street legals on Friday night.
Yes, it's a tremendous opportunity to generate revenue. It needs to be, my thought was to have it set up as an arm's length, independent business.
Which is better for liability.
Yeah, it would have to be. I mean, Dave talked, we talked
Steps
about.
were taken at first instance to set that up, but other circumstances intervened, but we can always do that again. And right now, the dyno has really only an upside, whether you keep it and run it or refurbish it and sell it, it's still an asset of value to the club. It's not of dire urgency to do anything with it. It's there, it's appreciated if Sean has accommodations for it for a while. So it'll have to be dealt with in due course, but it's still an asset of potential substantial upside value.
Maybe we should, thanks for bringing that up, Mike, but the executive needs to sit down and develop a plan as we go forward of what we think should be done with it.
Yeah.
I mean, I have my personal ideas about what should be done with it, but it needs to be decided and a plan needs to be formed.
It's on the list, if you will, but time has been short for stuff.
I got one last one here, it's a real quick one. Stefan has made the short list for the Race of Champions. Those of you who don't know, that's the top drivers in the all over the world. From Sebastian Vettel's going to be there, Sebastian Loeb's going to be there. All the top dogs from all over the world are going to show up in Miami, and they go head to head in sort of a rallycross format. And Stefan has been invited into a group of 10 people. He requires your vote. The winner, the guy who gets the most votes, gets to go and be in the Race of Championships. So he's currently in second place right now in that, so.
How do you vote?
I'm gonna put it up on the club website, everybody can log in, give a
It's on
vote for.
Facebook already, somebody
Is
put
it?
it on
Okay.
Facebook, yeah.
Okay.
You can click on it and let's see if we can get them there. I'm gonna be there watching the race, so.
Just for clarification, there's two parts of that race of champions. There's the individual championship that they run on the second day and the
Yeah.
Nations Cup. He's been nominated into the finalists for Nations Cup. So he'll be there representing North America. Unfortunately, they didn't separate Canada and the United States, but he's in there with, yeah, with a bunch of different people that are big names that you'd recognize, and it's pretty cool. He's sitting second in votes right now, so be nice to see him at the top.
Okay, so that's it? There's nothing else?
I got nothing.
Nothing? Okay, that's it for today. Motion to adjourn? Don't really, okay, good.
Can we talk about tires?
No.
No.
Yes, yes, all you want.
I'm glad we got a spec.
So we got a new spec, but we got no way to make them.
That's right.
I was under the understanding
Yeah.
when Ken
Yeah,
gave me
right.
all the
Yeah.
information that it was
Yeah.
not a problem,
Yeah,
blah, blah, blah,
yeah,
blah,
yeah,
blah,
yeah.
blah, blah.
Yep.
So I get the information from him, go to talk to the guy, and he knows nothing about it.
Right. Yeah, yeah.
The guy in, Westbridge or whatever?
No, the guy
I
at
can't
Fountain,
help but say that I told you so, but I told you so.
the guy at Fountain Tire was selling us the tires for real cheap. So then I go back to Ken and I said, well, the guy at Fountain Tire knows nothing about it. Oh, yeah, well, maybe I didn't mention it to him.
Oh my God.
So then he said, oh, it's the other guy at Tirecraft on the West End. So I go to the guy at Tirecraft on the West End, and he's on vacation. So I talked to the other guys. I said, well, our Lethbridge facility still does it. So I said, well, can you check with them? And they said, no, they didn't seem too interested. So anyway, I get home, I call the Lethbridge facility directly, get put through to the plant manager at the wheat place, and yes, they can